Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. I am back and I have a beautiful review slash unboxing to do for you. And I say review slash unboxing because it will make sense to you in a minute. Now, I have unboxed before, or at least revealed on my channel, the Wisdome Keeps Oracle deck, which is this one by Rosie Aronson PhD. Now, I am bonkers about this particular deck, mostly because it has a very personal interaction, and it's not something that I would necessarily use for clients. But when I first opened this deck and I started to pull cards from it, I was brought to tears, and I'm not a sobby kind of a person, mostly because of the intricacy and the emotive stories that Rosie has managed to embed in this beautiful guidebook, which is this one here. Now, I've spoken about this before. I love this deck for myself, and I think that it is just a beautiful, beautiful oracle deck and personal spiritual development deck. I took it to an initiation. It is muddied because of it. I really care for this deck quite a bit, and everyone that I have allowed to pull a card from this deck for themselves, I don't pull one for them, I allow them to pull a card and they can read the stories, have had the exact same emotive response that I have had. So for me, that is a top-notch deck. So again, this is the Wisdome Keeps Oracle deck. Now, this is the black and white version of the deck, and I loved the black and white version, but Rosie entered in contact with me to let me know that she has created the coloured version, because it was on my radar. I'm like, I wonder what these images would look like coloured. In fact, I'll show you some of the black and white images so that you can see why I was curious to see them in a bit of colour. So check this out. So these beautiful inky drawings, each one with so much personality and so much wisdom, and just a really unique story behind each of the characters depicted. I still think that looks like Robin Williams. Just really, really beautiful imagery, and I thought, wow, I wonder what that would look like in colour. And then she entered in contact with me saying that she saw that I did a review and would like to know if I'd like a colour copy. And I'm like, oh, I would love a colour copy. I would love a colour copy. So she sent me out this beautiful package so that I could share it with you guys. And this is the entire package. So the coloured guidebook and the deck in this beautiful little gossamer bag. So I'm going to do a proper unboxing of this one, because I don't think I did a legit unboxing of the last one. I just sort of did a reveal, and I really, I've got to tell you guys, occasionally there are these decks that come out that feel just so for you, as though they were made for you. Soul Cards is one of those decks for me, a deck that I can read inside out, back to front, upside down, it doesn't matter. It's like the deck was made specifically for me, and I resonate with it so much. As far as a healing deck, this deck is my #1 healing deck. I say this because I have an issue with expressions of emotion. I'm not the standard cry at the drop of a hat person, nor am I even the cry, in extreme circumstances. I'll cry in extreme pain, but not necessarily like someone getting married or the loss of a loved one. I'm very stoic in that sensation, and I know that that's an issue that I need to deal with personally for myself. Anyways, so I work on that. I'm not a genius at healing myself, but I work on that, and I think that this deck is one of those decks that can really help. And again, just for tremendous personal use. Now, the deck itself comes with a little guidebook. It's little, but it's big. It is 165 pages, and it has nice little descriptions of the cards, just little thumbnails of the cards. And the guidebook itself, look at the inside of that box too, by the way, just gorgeous. The actual book itself is 300 pages, and it comes with larger depictions of the cards, as you can see, and a little bit more of a write-up, but you still get a tasty amount of information in this guidebook, let me tell you. So really sturdy, beautiful box. It's kind of it's just got a texture to it, and yeah, it's nice and glossy. The other box did as well. It was just phenomenal. So okay, oh, I'm excited. Is it me or are these cards? No, I think the cards might actually be bigger. The coloured copy is actually bigger. Oh, I remember that. I remember that one. So that is the difference in size there. So that's the coloured, and that's the difference in size between the black and white. So they're substantially bigger. I would say that they're Blue Angel. Size of Blue Angel, if not a smidge bigger. Do I have a Blue Angel on here? They're bigger. They're way bigger than Blue Angel. So you know, they're quite a substantial card size. Really like it. I mean, I really like it. I really like it. Okay, so let's have a look at these cards. Oh, see, it brings so much more. It just brings so much more to the images. The images seem to come alive and bring that extra dimension. Freshness. Oh, I just love it. Look at that. Oh, look at these cards. That is so cute. Innovation. There is so much gorgeous detail to these images. There is so much emotion in these cards. I love the eyes. I love the eyes. You know how Jasmine Beckett Griffith does the beautiful eyes, and the eyes seem to hold that emotion? I think that the eyes, although subdued, not quite as exacerbated as Jasmine Beckett Griffith eyes, I think these have a really personal essence to them. I just love the images. It's got this intricacy, like each and every character is a mandala in and of itself, and it has this beautiful soul pattern to the skin, and these beautiful symbols added to the hair and the face, and oh, the skin, and oh, it's just so lovely. It's so lovely. I love the black and white version so much, so I was freaking stoked when I got my hands on this beautiful colour copy. Like a prized deck it is. I've got many oracle decks, folks. Many oracle decks, as you know, but as far as a healing deck for me, it's this one. Soul Cards is my #1 intuitive deck. This is my #1 personal healing deck, and a lovely companion. I should probably tell you how many cards it's got. I think it's got around the 50, what am I looking at here? 64 faces. 64 faces. So a bit bigger than your standard oracle, which is around the 45 to 54. This is a nice one. I swear, as I flick through some of these images, it's like, oh, I recognise that face. I recognise that face. Maybe because she embodies such a wide ethnic approach, that maybe there's characteristics of people that I've met along my life path in here. She doesn't favour the young or the old or the fat or the skinny or the in-between or any particular ethnicity. She has gone really quite broad with her depictions, and that's the thing that I find the most nourishing, is because there is such a rich diversity of imagery here. And the stories for each and every one are just, oh, they just pull on your heartstrings. I dare you not to cry, or at least like well up a little bit. I dare you. I dare you. Look at this. I've got the shakes a little bit still from the anesthetic, guys. Look, just look. Oh my gosh. It is a warm day today and I am sweating. Just lovely. Here's Robin Williams. Look at that. Like, don't you think that they're just so beautiful? Just each one has so much personality to me. I can't quite put it into words. I'm just so taken by this deck in particular, and I loved the black and white version. I did. But then the coloured version came out and I'm like, so what I'll probably end up doing is using the coloured version for this light half of the year that I'm in, because I'm edging towards Litha and the summer solstice. And then towards the autumn I'll do the switch to the black and white, because I think it just holds a little bit more crone energy. Just a little bit less, which means you have to sort of strive a little more. Just so much. I may as well show you as many cards as I can, because I did get permission to show as many cards as I felt necessary, and I just think that each and every one is so different that you know, it's kind of like you have to meet them all. You can't just meet half a room full of people. You kind of got to say hello to everyone, don't you? Now, I think the Wisdome Keepers Oracle is the perfect name for this Oracle deck. Sometimes you've got to wonder why people name Oracle decks the way that they name them. Mostly, you know, it's not something that I get terribly hung up about, but I think that this particular deck captured the name beautifully, quite frankly. It is a favourite, guys. I can't help it. It's a favourite, so I'm going to give it the best rap that I can possibly give. Not just because it was sent to me, but because I think that it is a phenomenal deck. Specifically for me. For me, I resonate with it. For me, I work with it. For me, I pull those cards and something happens. And that's why I continue to pull cards from it. But it's not a deck that I utilise for clients. It's a deck that I definitely utilise for myself. And I encourage other people that are going through a little something to come to this deck, and I'll let them pull a card and read the story. And it's not a small thing. It's like a little mini ritual. You come, you pull a card, then you read the story in the book. You really do read the story in the book. And then you sit with that story. It comes with questions. So you sit with that story and you sit with those questions, and then you naturally allow yourself to come up with the answer to those questions, and it happens so authentically. It's a little tiny bit of shadow excavation, I must admit. And so it would be natural for people to use this during the darker time of the year if their process of healing is something that holds a lot of trauma. So I would probably suggest that to be used during the darker half of the year. But if you wanted to sort of touch and start gently working on those facets of yourself that you feel require healing, then the coloured version would be beautiful for the lighter half of the year. And there is something about the introduction of colour to an image that creates a sense of beauty and whimsy So that is something to keep in mind. Basically, I enjoy the fact that there are two versions of this deck, the black and white and the colour, because there is a time and a place for both. I just love it. Some of this has got really great granny energy in it. I had a fantastic relationship with both of my grandmas, and I have the utmost respect for the elderly, and I think that it's so important to speak with them and to get the stories, and that's something that I used to do with my Brazilian grandma and my Australian grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, and I'm so glad that I did take the time to sit there and listen to their stories. I don't know, it just holds a lot of ancient and even new wisdom, modern wisdom. So that was all the cards, and then the final card is, of course, the mirror card. There's a little something about that. So that is the entire deck. Now, I want to go through the book a little bit with you and show you what's what. I'm stoked that those cards are a bit bigger. So the little guidebook is quietly divided. Takes a village. Lots of thanks here. Table of contents. There's some spreads. The introduction to the human face, the birth story, the gene keys. Now that's the special thing about this particular deck, is that it works with the gene keys. Now I don't know too much about the gene keys, but it does work with the, I think it's the 64. That is the number 64, hence the 64 cards. And there's quite a little bit about that in here. Each card comes with the shadow, the gift, and the CD. The shadow is when we are worried about our survival and fear is in the driver's seat. We find ourselves in shadow territory. Our shadow can be expressed in repressive or reactive ways. The gift, when we are more oriented towards serving others and honouring ourselves than protecting and defending ourselves, we more naturally share our gifts with others and feel a sense of belonging in the world. And then the CD is when we have entered a pure state of expansion and have completely surrendered our sense of separateness into the whole. We have entered the realm of the CD. The CD. Don't know how to pronounce that properly. To confront a person with his shadow is to show him his own light, Carl Jung. So for those who like to work with Jungian psychology, parapsychology, those kinds of internal processes, internal healing processes, you'll probably like this. Yes, beautiful. So the small book is a gift. And then the large book, like I said, I had so much mud on that. And I look after my books. I know that it's difficult for me to say I look after my books when I've got mud on one of them. But if you saw my library, you'd be like, whoa, dude, where's the white gloves? That's the only thing really missing. But I'm stoked to have this one here. The colour representations are not present in the book itself, so I've essentially just got the colour cover there, and I believe that the information is the same. I haven't had a chance to fully read it yet, but you get much of the same. The sacred role of the shadow, yes, we've gone there. We have a number, we have 3 words, we have the programming partner, the symbols, the wisdom story, the gift, the questions for contemplation. That's what I was referring to. The questions for contemplation are something that is really interesting. So, with freshness, which is card number 1, this is what you get. And then you get the wisdom story, which is one whole page plus my gift to you plus the questions for contemplation, which are on this page here. And they're good questions for contemplation. They're ones to journal. If you love journaling, love this. They're like inbuilt journal prompts. You can just go through it at your own leisure. And they're fantastic. Now, Rosie has got a promotion at the moment where she is giving away signed copies of her colouring in book with the purchase of this deck in particular, and the proceeds, or 15% of the proceeds, goes to the human rights organisation in Uganda. So that is something to keep in mind, that if you do intend on purchasing this, say for Christmas or something like that, or for a little bit pre-Christmas gift or a pre-Muggle Christmas gift, then some of your money will be going to quite a good cause. I got a few little postcards with this as well, which is nice. I think I'll frame these. Yes, alright guys, so that is the coloured version of the Wisdome Keepers Oracle. A beautiful deck, much larger than the original black and white version. Absolutely expansive, nourishing, beautiful. I highly recommend it. Much love, many blessings.